Have a nice day, student. Today we continue our chapter Natural Resources. In natural resources, last class we have discussed about the air. Today we discuss about the role of air for survival of living beings. Natural resource. Here, air is very important for the survival of living being because it contains the oxygen which is responsible for oxidation of food particles or oxidation of molecules and liberate the energy. In the cells, the energy is stored in the form of ATPs, and whenever body requires the energy, it will be converted into the ATP and liberate the energy. This energy is utilized in the various metabolic activities. So, the air which is present in our surrounding we inhale for the oxygen, and this oxygen is consumed during the various metabolic. This energy is used during the various metabolic activities. In the case of carbon dioxide or in the case of carbon dioxide, the CO2 is produced during this process or during the respiration of the cell or oxidation of food particle. This CO2 is utilized in the plants for photosynthesis. This CO2 converts into C6H12O6. So this is the glucose molecule which contains the carbon. This carbon it obtained from the carbon dioxide, as well as it having the oxygen also, which is obtained from the carbon dioxide gas. So CO2 is very essential, very important for the two important processes. One we call them respiration, and second one we call them photosynthesis. So all the living beings require the oxygen for respiration. So it is very important for survival of life. And second one which is important for the photosynthesis, and in the case of photosynthesis the CO2 is present in the environment which is used by the plants for photosynthesis and convert this CO2 into food particle or glucose molecule during the dark reaction. Another important function of this air, that is the combustion process. The combustion process also completed or takes place in the presence of air. It means presence of oxygen. So O2 required in this process also. So here the various gases are very essential for the survival of living being, and CO2 is necessary for photosynthesis. Now another important role of the atmosphere for climatic control. The role of atmosphere in the climate control. Climate control in the sense the various geographical conditions are formed here. So these geographical conditions are climatic conditions are formed due to the air, because air whenever move it forms the winds, and winds are formed due to the different air pressure. So air pressure is generated or air pressure is developed due to the temperature. So the air is also important in the formation of clouds and in the development of temperature. Suppose we are discussing about the temperature which is available on the land. This is the normal temperature for survival of living being. But in the case of moon, its surface having the temperature during the night are minus 190 degrees Celsius, while during the day are it having the temperature 110 degrees Celsius due to the absence of atmosphere on the moon surface. So air is very important for the survival as well as formation of life on the land. Another important aspect for the air, that is it is developed the rainfall, or it is responsible for the rainfall, because water vapor move along with the winds. So the winds are formed due to the air. So these are some important aspects or some important concept for the air. Now another some demerits are caused due to the human intervention, we call it pollution. Pollution is the any undesirable change in the air composition or in the atmosphere, we call them pollution. Pollution is caused by the molecules or substance, we call them pollutants. Pollutants are the substance which cause the pollution, we call them pollutants. So in the case of air, what are the pollutants? So pollutants are the substance which cause the pollution, or the molecules which cause the pollution, we call them pollutants. Substances are caused pollution. So in the case of air pollution, suppose we are talking here air pollution. What is the meaning of air pollution? Air pollution, it means any undesirable change in the physical, chemical and biological nature of air is called air pollution. So the air pollution is the degrade the quality of air. So the air pollutants, so few of them are very important air pollutants. These pollutants or air pollutants are categorized in two groups. First we call them primary air pollutants or primary pollutants. Primary pollutants, these are the substance which start from directly these sources. For example, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide are known as the primary pollutant because they are directly produced from source and they are available in the nature. Second one, we call them secondary pollutant. The secondary pollutant, it means these pollutants are developed from reaction of or from combination of primary pollutants. So the secondary pollutants are found by the reactions of primary pollutants or by they develop from the primary pollutants. For example, photochemical smoke. Photochemical smoke is a type of secondary pollutant, and PAN, peroxyl acetyl nitrate, these are the pollutants which are called the secondary pollutant because they are developed from primary pollutant. Now another classification of the pollutant we can categorize on the basis of the state. So there are the two categories. Pollutants are again divided into two groups. First one, we call them gaseous pollutant because they are gaseous in nature, so we call them gaseous pollutants. Another type of pollutants, that is the particulate pollutants because they are particle in nature, so we call them particulate pollutants. So in the gaseous nature, very simple, very common example, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, these are the some gaseous pollutants, while the particulate pollutants are unburned carbon particles. Carbon particles which present in the nature, which also cause the pollution. Pollution, it means the change the quality of atmosphere or change the quality of air. So what is the impact or effect of these pollutants on the human health? So first of all, we discuss about the carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is a toxic and poisonous gas because it combined with the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a biomolecule which is present in the RBC. It is responsible for transfer of oxygen in the body. So hemoglobin is the carrier of O2. So this hemoglobin molecule combined with the oxygen and form the carboxyhemoglobin. So it formed the oxyhemoglobins. But when the carbon dioxide present in the nature, it having the more binding capacity with the hemoglobin, it having the 200 to 300 times more binding capacity as compared to the oxygen to hemoglobin. So it can easily bind with hemoglobins. So it converts this hemoglobin molecule into the carboxy hemoglobin and it become permanent. So it become converted into the carboxyhemoglobin, and carboxyhemoglobin is the permanent molecule which is not dissociated and it will be cause the disease we call them lung cancer, because it damage the lungs, so it will cause the lung cancer. So this is the dreadful disease in the living being. Another air pollutants are the nitrous oxides, NO2. NO2 and SO2, these are the oxides which are formed during the various chemical reaction, or they are present in the exhaust or smoke which is liberated from the industries. This SO2 or NO2, when react with the water vapor, they become convert into the acidic form, or they decrease the pH value of the water. So they become convert into the acids, or these acid whenever mix with the water vapor, it will convert the acid rain. So this acid rain is harmful for the living being. Whenever the water comes on the land at a very low pH, it will damage the historical monuments and living beings on the land and living. So these are the some pollutants which harm the life on the land. Now another important or another pollutant substance, we call them smoke, is also developed from the air pollutions. So the smokes are developed from the SO2, SO3, ozone. Ozone is also harmful or pollutant gas at the ground level because it is toxic to the living beings. Carbon monoxide. These all the things are causes the smoke, and it will causes the air pollution. So another this effects of air pollution, we call them global warming. So what is the global warming or greenhouse effect? Greenhouse effect. Greenhouse effect is caused due to the CO2 or carbon dioxide concentration. Whenever the CO2 concentration become higher in the atmosphere, it will cause air pollution or greenhouse. This greenhouse effect is increase the temperature on the earth crust, so it increase the temperature, it will causes the melting of glaciers and increase the sea level. So what is the ill effect and bad effect of this greenhouse effect, or which gases are responsible for the greenhouse gases or global warming? CO2 is responsible for this effect. 60% contribution is done by the CO2. Methane is also responsible for it. It developed the 20% greenhouse effect, or it contributes the 20%. Chlorofluorocarbon CFC, which is responsible for the depletion of ozone layer, it also contributes 14% in the global warming or in the greenhouse effect. And nitrous oxide N2O also contributes 6% in the global warming. So these all the gases are responsible for the global warming or greenhouse effect. They contribute the increase in the temperature of earth crust, and finally the 2 to 3 degree temperature of earth crust become increased, and it will cause the greenhouse effect or global warming. So what are the effects of this greenhouse effect? First is the increase the sea level. Increase the sea level. Second impact is increase the global temperature. And the third impact is on agriculture. It also damages the agriculture practices or agriculture productions, because agriculture is directly related with the temperature. Whenever the temperature increase, it will decrease the humidity in the atmosphere. So, and it also causes the maturation of crops, early maturation of the crops, and increase the disease causing microbes, we call them vectors. So vector population also increase due to this global warming impact or effect. It will also causes the diseases on the land. So these are the some effects which it is also causes the diseases in human beings, because vectors whenever they increase, they also increase the diseases. Another impact we can also say the respiratory and skin diseases also develop or cause due to the global warming effect. So that's all right for today. Thanks and have a nice day.